What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. Today, I want to react to the news that Aaron Rodgers will be making his Jets debut, and he will be starting against the New York Giants in the Jets' final preseason game. There are mixed opinions on this. I'll go through the pros and the cons of playing him in this game. Is it worth the risk? We'll talk about all of that and then try to come up with the decision, right? I'll tell you my feeling on it. I'll lay out both sides of it, but at the end, I'll tell you where I fall on it. So let's start with the potential benefits of Aaron Rodgers playing against the New York Giants in this game. Number one is Aaron Rodgers getting a game feel for a couple of possessions. Yes, training camp and practice is important, but it's very, very challenging. Even in joint practices, which is, I guess, a little bit closer, it's hard to duplicate in-game feel in practice. It's just different when the lights are on. So that would be obviously the biggest one, is actually getting him game experience, even though it would probably only be for maybe 2 series. I would be surprised if it's anything more than that. Number two is chemistry. Whether it's chemistry with just any of the other first teamers, the wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, offensive line, all of it. This is going to be a big factor and something that the Jets have to do now before they play the first game of the year, is build chemistry with the starters, and this could potentially give them that opportunity. And my last positive on it is he wants to do it. Obviously, he would not be playing if he didn't want to actually play. He hasn't played in a preseason game in 5 years, so it's very obvious that he wants to do it. And I get it. Like, he's in a new environment now. He's not, in Green Bay, it was something that was routine for him. Probably felt like he didn't need these reps because it was, repetitive. He's been there and done it for a long time, but now he feels that he wants to do it. Okay, so those are my benefits of Aaron Rodgers playing. The negative, or the risk, is injury. That's the biggest one, and it's hard not to go back to Mark Sanchez and Chad Pennington getting hurt in a meaningless game against the New York Giants in the preseason, derailing the 2003 season, and Sanchez was on pace to start the 2013 season, and both 10 years apart, right? 03, 13, and now another 10 years. Like, there's just some weird things lining up with it, and I get it. Like, new team, new regime, new guys. You don't have to necessarily go back to that mindset, but it's hard not to think about the risk and the what if. Another big thing is, will this offensive line, the Jets' actual starting offensive line, be ready to go in this game? Dwayne Brown has not practiced a single time in training camp, so are you going to plug in or put Aaron Rodgers behind Max Mitchell or Billy Turner as his left tackle? AVT has been banged up, and Laken Tomlinson has been banged up. Neither of those guys have played yet, obviously, but they've been held out of practice the last little bit, and that's why you had the offensive line of last night. The starting offensive line was Max Mitchell, Joe Tippmann, Connor McGovern, Schweitzer at right guard, and then Billy Turner at right tackle. Are you putting Aaron Rodgers behind that offensive line, or are you putting him behind Brown, Laken, McGovern / Tippmann? Probably McGovern would be my guess. AVT and Mekhi Becton. Like, what version of the offensive line is he going behind? That is obviously very important. And then, is 2 drives really going to make that big of a difference 16 days before he's, the Jets play a regular season game? Like, an over 2-week gap from the next time the New York Jets suit up. Is that enough to make a difference? Like, is that enough time to build up any sort of last minute chemistry or workings with this offense? I don't know if it is enough, especially enough for me to take that risk. As I've mentioned, it's been years since Aaron Rodgers has played in the preseason, and he won 2 MVPs, back-to-back MVPs, without playing a game in the preseason. I get it. Patrick Mahomes just played recently, in a preseason game, and you don't want to live your entire life in fear. I totally get that. But for where I am sitting, I think it's an unnecessary risk. I wouldn't play him or, a majority of the starters. It's different. It's not like in years gone by where you've had a young quarterback. You want to see, is he making those steps, or the young players? Like, I don't know. I don't think the positives outweigh the risk in this. So I would lean no. I'm not going to sit up here and be like, this is the worst thing ever, that this is a massive mistake. that like it's, fireable offense. None of those things. Like I think, it can get a little bit out of hand, but be honest with you, I'm nervous about it. I would have preferred the bubble wrap route. Like, listen, let's just get everybody to the week 1 of the season, especially on a team that's dealt with injuries and a ton of injuries. They've been decimated by injuries year after year after year. Last night, you almost lost Izzy Abanikanda. Luckily, it's only a thigh contusion, but him in the fourth quarter of a preseason game, like, I know they don't really have a ton of other options to put out there, but there's risk involved, and there is risk. So I personally don't think it's worth the risk, but I want to hear from you. Do you think the Jets are making the right call? Sound off in the comments below. Once again, I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll catch you next time.